Did you know that Pokemon is the highest grossing franchise of all time, earning almost $100 billion in total revenue? Yeah, maybe you did. It was my first guess. But maybe you didn't. Maybe you don't even know what Pokemon is. But that's why I'm here. I'm going to help explain it to you. So my niece and nephew have recently gotten into Pokemon, and I don't really know if my siblings know what Pokemon is. Now they do. They played the games as a kid, but they don't really know it like I do, because I'm obsessed with it, if you can't tell. But, you know, I got to thinking, how would you explain Pokemon to someone who has no idea what it really is? So I feel like, you know, you can start explaining it, and like after like 5 seconds, you know, they just look like this. You should show them this video, because this is an introduction to Pokemon, or Pokemon for Dummies. Oh my god, a shiny subscribe button. Quick, press it. No, don't run away. No! Pokemon is a multimedia franchise that originated in Japan and consists of video games, card games, TV shows, movies, and a lot more. Like, they even have a fleet of jets. Yeah, pretty cool. Now, I would say most people probably know that by now. Maybe not the jet part, but most of that, right? But where did it really start? I know I said Japan, but let's get a little more specific, huh? The first taste of Pokemon came from 2 RPGs, or role-playing games, that were released for the Game Boy in 1996 called Red and Blue. When you begin the game, your 10-year-old character, yep, 10 years old, they wake up one day and they will begin their journey across the region. Country, you know, it's called a region, it's a country. In order to do this, you need a Pokemon. Self-explanatory. And this will be kindly given to you by a professor, in this case, Professor Oak. And in the case of the first games, your choices are Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle. No, you do not get Pikachu unless you play Pokemon Yellow. Rabbit holes. We'll get there. So you set out on your journey. The point of this game, well, most Pokemon games, is that you travel around the region and you collect things called gym badges. In order to get these gym badges, you need to catch Pokemon and train them up by defeating other Pokemon or other trainers and gaining experience. At almost every city you arrive in, there will be a gym that you can challenge. And I don't mean like workout gym, that's just what they call them. There will be a leader at each of these gyms, and if you defeat them, you will earn a gym badge. And these get increasingly more difficult as your journey continues, like most video games do. Each gym specializes in a specific type of Pokemon. And if you don't know, which you probably don't because you're watching this video, every Pokemon has at least one type. Many have 2, and as of generation 9, yes, there are 9 generations of Pokemon, you can actually add a 3rd type, kinda? It's weird, it's complicated. Anyway, an example of this is that your starter Pokemon are usually, almost always, water, grass, or fire. So for instance, Squirtle is a water type, Bulbasaur is a grass type, and Charmander is a fire type. And these 3 typings kind of work like rock, paper, scissors, where water beats fire, fire beats grass, and grass beats water. And this is just a quick example, as there are actually 19 types and a bunch more strengths, weaknesses, immunities, etc. And there's also dual typings, which is a Pokemon with 2 typings. So like when I said Bulbasaur is a grass type, he's actually grass poison, but it doesn't really play into effect in the starter trio because poison isn't weak or good against either of the other 2 types, but regardless, I'll get into it. Another example is like when Charmander, a pure fire type, but when I say pure, it's only the 1 type, when it evolves into Charizard eventually, who gains the flying type, so he's a fire flying type. However, when other Pokemon evolve, like Squirtle, who evolves into Blastoise eventually, he remains pure water type the entire way through. And now that I mention it, a lot of Pokemon can evolve. And that's when a small Pokemon reaches a certain level or some other condition is met, like trading or some weird stuff. And it evolves into, usually, a bigger, stronger Pokemon. Not always the case, but typically, yes. Some Pokemon don't evolve, and others can evolve 2 times. For instance, Heracross never evolves. Toxel evolves into Toxtricity. Well, one of 2 different Toxtricities, but they're the same Pokemon. It depends on nature. I don't want to talk about natures. Cyndaquil will evolve into Quilava, And Quilava will evolve into Typhlosion. Unless you're in a certain region, in which case he goes into a certain variant of Typhlosion. Again, there's a lot that goes into it. Some Pokemon can actually go further and Mega Evolve, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother video. Anyway, back to the main story. Once you obtain all 8 gym badges, you can challenge the Pokemon League. This is your final challenge, usually. It typically consists of 4 very tough trainers called the Elite Four, followed by the champion of the region. And the champion is the strongest trainer out of them all, hence the name. What makes this challenge difficult is that you cannot change your Pokemon or heal them in between fights unless you use items. During the game, you're allowed to have 6 Pokemon with you, which is considered your party. They can be swapped out at any Pokemon Center PC. Speaking of, along your journey, you'll be able to go into buildings called Pokemon Centers. In here, you can heal your Pokemon. In the newer gens, they have like Pokemarts where you can buy items, and you can adjust your Pokemon Center in the computer there. And yes, although defeating the champion is the main point of the game, there are various other plot points that do exist in most, if not all, other Pokemon games. There's almost always an evil team that will try to cause you some sort of issues for some reason. They vary from Team Rocket, who in the very first game try to steal Pokemon, to Team Flare, who vowed to eliminate everyone who didn't follow the standards that they created. Yes, a 10-year-old is responsible for defeating them. These evil teams also usually involve you meeting, battling, and hopefully catching some type of legendary Pokemon. Legendary Pokemon, like the name suggests, are incredibly rare and powerful creatures that have some incredible abilities. One you may know the name of is Mewtwo. Pretty popular Pokemon, might have heard the name. But that's not all. For instance, maybe you've heard the catchphrase, gotta catch 'em all. Well, yeah, you can actually go around the region and catch every Pokemon in the region that you can, and complete your Pokédex, which is a little device that the professor gives you in the beginning of the game, and it kind of just tracks the information of the Pokemon that you catch and see. Yeah, it's a standard. And if you're really lucky, you'll come across a shiny Pokemon. Shiny Pokemon are Pokemon who are just a different color than normal Pokemon. There's no advantage, there's no anything else special. They just kind of sparkle and they're usually a cool color, unlike some of them. But like, finding a shiny Pokemon is really fun because why would you battle with a bland brown bark Phantom when you could rock with a super cool white bark Phantom? He's so cool, look at him. Some people consider themselves shiny hunters who play the game almost only to get the shiny Pokemon. And there are ways to manipulate your odds of encountering shinies more often, and they use it to their best abilities so they're not wasting so much time, even though it doesn't always work. But usually the odds of a shiny Pokemon are 1 in 4,096. So not great. But it's actually not as bad as it used to be, as it used to be 1 in 8,192 prior to Generation 6 in 2013. There's also a lot to do online if you choose in the newer games. You can battle other people, you can trade with them, you can take on Pokemon in raids, legendaries, you know, all the fun stuff. Needless to say, there are plenty of options when it comes to Pokemon. And that's just the main Pokemon games. There are several spin-off games. There's the trading card game. Highly recommend if you can actually find the cards. There's the manga, the anime, and so much more. So if you're trying to get into this, or one of your kids or a friend is trying to get you into it, be prepared for a new hobby, or obsession is probably the better way to put it. I mean, I have a Pokemon tattooed on me, so yeah. Either way, hang on to your Pokeballs and let's HM08 in. Your journey begins now.